Though integral to the Hogwarts Legacy plot, we still know very little about ancient magic in the wizarding world. Ancient magic is a powerful branch of magic that has long been forgotten. It is hidden, and it is considered a unique ability to find and harness it. We know our character can harness ancient magic, but where does this power come from? Turn those books to page 394 as we dive into part 2 of Hogwarts Legacy, A History of Magic. Accio Attorney, a trustworthy muggle in the wizarding world. As discussed in part 1, many different cultures are able to learn magic even though they use different means of harnessing that magic. This leads me to believe that there are two main types of magic, learned magic and natural magic. One is a subset of the other. Natural magic, then, would be a force of nature like gravity or electromagnetism. Though not everyone is able to harness magic, it is still ever present in our world. In the last video, we discussed how the many different cultures have learned to channel magic. But it isn't only wizards who can harness this magic. Yes, there are animals which are innately non-magical, such as pigs, but there are others which possess an innate bent for magic, such as owls. And there are even others which are so obviously magical, like dragons, which are extremely difficult to slay owing to the ancient magic that imbues their thick hides. But more on that later. Understanding the different vessels natural magic uses to affect different beings is important to help us understand what ancient magic could be and its importance to our story. Remember back in the Order of the Phoenix, how the entire plot centered around Trelawney's prophecy? Trelawney has always been seen as a fraud by the teachers of Hogwarts, and even Dumbledore says in chapter 37 of the Order of the Phoenix, quote, "It was against my inclination to allow the subject of divination to continue at all," close quote. Yet no one can deny she has made two real predictions. It's quite remarkable that major characters in the Harry Potter series were around to hear those predictions, isn't it? What if she didn't happen to be in the Hogshead the night she made her first prediction? What if she were born in a different country? All of this is to say that it's almost unbelievably fortunate that Dumbledore, and later Harry, were around to hear her actual predictions. Talk about being lucky. Or maybe not. Do you remember when Harry visited the Forbidden Forest for detention in his first year? In chapter 15, Firenze says, "This is the Potter boy. The quicker he leaves the forest, the better." And then Bane responds with, "What have you been telling him? We are sworn not to set ourselves against the heavens. Have we not read what is to come in the movements of the planets?" Could what Firenze and Bane are talking about be the same prophecy about Harry and Voldemort that Trelawney made, just in a different form? Call it a deity, call it a force of nature, but I think that natural magic reveals itself to different groups in different ways. Humans have seers with the sight. Centaurs have the gift of reading the stars. Other groups might have other conduits by which they harness natural magic. Regardless, if natural magic wants to reveal something, it will do so one way or another. To me, ancient magic makes up a small sliver of this larger natural magic. Certain animals and wizards are able to unknowingly tap into ancient magic. As I mentioned earlier, ancient magic imbues a dragon's hide. Lily, too, unlikely knew she was saving her son's life when she cast sacrificial love to protect him. But there are even rarer circumstances of beings who are able to harness ancient magic. Voldemort incorrectly believes Dumbledore has this power when he says in chapter 33 of the Goblet of Fire, quote, "Dumbledore invoked an ancient magic to ensure the boy's protection as long as he is in his relation's care," unquote. But it was not Dumbledore who invoked this power, it was Lily. This means that ancient magic is likely an infrequently studied branch of magic that even the most knowledgeable are only vaguely aware of. If ancient magic is infrequently studied, can we maybe find an old book on ancient magic in the library? Check out the video to learn more. My guess is that the founders of Hogwarts were no doubt aware of the possibilities of ancient magic. If ancient magic is part of natural magic, it should come as no surprise why the founders based their houses on the four elements of our world: fire, air, water, and earth. As I mentioned in the prior video, the founders likely learned their magic from an even older school, but they could have sought to establish their own school in order to learn more about ancient magic. The narrative director for Hogwarts Legacy, Moira Squire, says, quote, "Hogwarts itself is a stronghold of ancient magic," unquote. Perhaps the founders were some of the earliest wielders of ancient magic. Maybe this ancient magic itself gave Rowena Ravenclaw her vision of the location of what would later become Hogwarts as an area teeming with ancient magic. Merlin, too, may have been able to harness the ancient magic, and all the puzzles he leaves for us to discover in this game are ways to test those who are truly worthy of possessing this power. After all, fellow Slytherin Salazar left a chamber behind for a worthy heir to discover. Merlin may have been doing the same thing. And we know that our character is one of these special instances of an individual who can sense ancient magic and possibly wield or control it. Have we seen instances of this power before? In the Half-Blood Prince movie, Dumbledore states that magic, especially dark magic, leaves traces. Though that line is only in the movies, in chapter 26 of the book, Dumbledore says of the cave, "It has known magic." For our character, the Hogwarts Legacy logo must be this trace. This logo keeps popping up everywhere. In the trailer, we see many different symbols, and some are ancient runes, but this logo is different. I'm not the first to draw this connection, but it's quite apparent that this symbol is the symbol for ancient magic. Furthermore, it's likely that this symbol will only be visible to our character, and not to any of our companions, Professor Fig, Ranrock, or anyone else. Clearly, Ranrock is after us in order to use this ancient magic, but why? How does Ranrock know that we hold the key to unlocking this ancient power? And for that matter, what is the key? Remember how I talked about natural magic revealing itself to different creatures in different ways? Goblins must have an equivalent of a seer who receives the sight either through stars, visions, or some other way. I think that from this revelation to one of his kind, Ranrock learns that we have the unique ability to manipulate powerful ancient magic hidden in the wizarding world, and may be the one that decides the fate of the entire wizarding world, as said in the trailer. Well, what could the fate be that we hold in our character's hands? Keep in mind the Daily Prophet says Ranrock is starting a goblin rebellion. While goblin rebellions are a frequent occurrence in the world of Harry Potter, could this goblin rebellion be due to a revelation that our character has a choice to use ancient magic to subject goblins to wizarding rule? Goblins and wizards have been at odds with each other for years, after all. Read the Deathly Hallows to learn more. Similar to how it was prophesied that Harry and Voldemort were destined to face off, I think there will be a fight over which group of people will control this power of ancient magic. This could also be where our morality and choice system comes into play. We can choose to elevate wizards above all, or we can choose to use our power for good. Keep in mind that prophecies are often misinterpreted, so while Ranrock sees us as a threat who can wipe out goblin kind, we might merely have a choice to do so or not to do so. Now, what are your predictions? I'd love to read them in the comments below. Thank you so much to those who followed along. These two videos were my favorite to make so far. I enjoyed exploring how different cultures across the globe are able to learn different methods of harnessing this natural magic. They use different methods to strengthen their own brand of magic. And while different cultures have learned to use different methods to strengthen their own brand of magic, it is still nothing to compare to this powerful ancient magic. And though rare, there are some who are able to learn this ancient magic as well. If you enjoyed these videos, please consider liking and subscribing, and check out my other videos too. If you have any suggestions for videos to cover in the future, please leave a comment below.